Hey everybody, so excited to see you today. My video editor has taken the holidays off, and so we're low key today. Just me, a cup of coffee, and my iPhone. Usually I shoot on all of this fancy YouTube gear, but I wanted to talk to you about something really important to me today. I keep coming across the term brain rot, and I think it's a really important thing that we talk about. It's something that we're all feeling because we live in a very shallow world where every day, and I mean shallow, I mean not that we're not living up to our full potential, but more that we're being asked to do shallow things that keep us from hitting our true potential. And that's really frustrating because, you know, when you go to work every day, you're sort of living in your inbox, your email inbox, and that sort of lifestyle is very shallow work. And then we go out and we do multitasking to try and get more than one thing done. That's also really shallow work. And then we often face this thing called existential overwhelm, which is the fact that today we have more things to do with our free time than we've ever had before. And because of all of the choices, you can go out and catch Pokemon on your phone. You could read books. You could learn a language. You could take a cooking course. All of the choices lead to no choices, and we end up defaulting to what's easiest, which is usually Netflix or TikTok, also shallow work. So what I want to talk about today is that reading really great books can actually help you overcome brain rot. Brain rot is a lot like not going to the gym for a long time. And if you've ever, most of us have not gone to the gym for a long time. When you finally go back, it can be really hard on the body at first because you're really sore and you're not used to lifting weights and so on. It's really challenging. But if you stick with it, going to the gym does get easier. It becomes a part of your identity, and you start to love being a fit person. You get more tone, you start seeing the weight come off, you're encouraged by your progress. But the problem is that first couple weeks, once you overcome the initial excitement of going to the gym, you're faced with the really sort of despondent fact that you have to go to the gym every day to hit your goal. And the gym is hard. Lifting weights is hard, but that's what it should be. So I have a stack of books here, for example, that I love. These are books by some of my favorite authors. Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, Simone Weil, and so on. And these kinds of books are really hard. Now, I share them with you. This isn't like a flux of like, ooh, look at the hard books that I read. It's more the fact that I don't understand what's happening in these books. They completely are over my head. They go way over my head. But let me actually grab this. I got some books down here by Lee Child. These are the Jack Reacher books. And I totally get what's going on in these books, right? They're fun, they're entertaining, and I love them. That's why they're in my office. But they have a different influence or impact on me compared to when I read like philosophy books or texts like Being and Nothingness by Jean-Paul Sartre. Once you start to understand what he's trying to get accomplished in his work, which you'll figure out if you stick with it long enough, what happens is you feel a change in your brain. And this is what I want to get to today. That with brain rot, when we sit down and we do what's easy all of the time, if we just go to our inbox and deal with forwarding messages, if we just sort of default to TikTok or Netflix, then our brain atrophies, much like your muscles in your body get weaker and weaker if all you do is sit on the couch. And by putting our brain through difficult books like these, what happens is that we feel really uncomfortable at first. It feels like we're reading a different language, which we're not. These are they're actually French philosophers, but they're translated into English. Regardless, it feels like I'm reading French because I don't understand a word they're saying. But here's what happens as you stick with it and you sort of push back against those difficult books. And you read slowly and you look up words you don't understand and you go back and you try again. What you're doing is putting your brain into a mental gym and you're overcoming brain rot. And it's the greatest feeling ever. So if you feel like you're living your sort of life like the hamster on the hamster wheel and you're just running as fast as you can and you are really starting to crave that depth that your brain wants, Your brain wants something challenging to work on. My commitment or my suggestion to you is go out and start a book you've always wanted to read, but honestly, you've been a little scared to start because maybe you thought it was over your head. Maybe you want to read a drama by Shakespeare, or maybe you want to read a philosophy book, or perhaps it's time to read Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, or Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Those books are hard to read, but they are worth it. And if you push through them and you lift the heavy weight of those books, you will be rewarded, I promise. I've been having a great conversation in my book club with people. Right now we're actually reading Anna Karenina. And it's funny because those classic books are classic for a reason, right? I mean, they're big. Anna Karenina is over 800 pages. It's a Russian novel about romance and what happens in families that don't get along. And it's got a really sort of deep philosophical element to it as well. What is love? And when is love, when should it be sort of pursued and when should it be restrained? So what's funny is there are no car crashes in this book. There are no major sort of like plot twisty, murdery, whodunit things. It's mainly characters talking to each other and going through the difficulties of being human. And it's funny because in my book club, people keep saying the same thing. They're like, oh my gosh, this might end up being my favorite new book. I had no idea why, but I love it. And people are really getting into this concept. But I can tell you why they love it. One, because it forces them to really think and focus on what's happening. Again, Lee Child is great. The level of focus, though, in the Jack Reacher books is not nearly as much when it comes to reading this book compared to, say, Anna Karenina. And definitely, I need a lot more focus if I'm going to read Jean-Paul Sartre. And my argument today is this. Pick up at least one book that is going to make you work for it, that's going to make you hit pause and think and sort of put your brain through something hard. Your brain wants that. And I think we all know that about ourselves, don't we? Like, it feels good to go out and do something difficult. A little side note, I started my own woodworking shop in 2020 during COVID. We were all locked in my house and it was, we were kind of going stir crazy, and I thought, I've always wanted to learn how to build furniture by hand. So I built a woodworking shop. I started buying tools online, didn't really know what I was doing. And what I found out was that as these things started showing up, I was very excited in the beginning to learn how to use these hand planes and chisels and all of the fun things. But after the tools arrived and the shininess of them sort of wore off, and I started to build things out of real wood, I found out how hard it was. And I'm proud to say that I didn't give up. And because of that, I've pushed through the difficulty, and my hands have gotten used to the tools. I know how wood responds now when I work it, and I can sort of figure out how to make a piece of furniture. And I'm currently making a desk for my son out of hard maple. It's just a beautiful, fun project. And I love going out into the shop mainly because I'm tired of living a shallow life where it's just emails and chaos. To go out and use my hands to make something is such a rewarding prospect, and it adds value to my life, just like these difficult books will. They force you to sit down, they force you to think, and they force you to use your brain, and there's value in that. So if you feel like you're suffering from brain rot, because we all are, then my challenge to you is this. Go to your bookshelf right now, find a book that you've been a little scared to start because you think it might be over your head, get your dictionary out and go to work. And treat it like a job, treat it like a career. Make that book something that you're gonna study and learn and give all of your attention to. It's gonna be hard at first. It's gonna feel like it's a foreign language. That's what it's supposed to feel like because you're overcoming brain rot. All right, I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you all next time. Until next time, read slowly, take notes, and apply the ideas. Thanks, everybody.